Chapter 18, Personal Selling and Sales Promotion. This is a continuation of the last P of the 4 Ps, which is promotion. And this is also the last chapter for our marketing subject this semester. The purpose of this chapter is to identify the factors that favor the use of personal selling versus advertising, describe the 4 sales channels, explain how each step in the sales process relates to the IDA concept, and summarize the 7 steps within the sales process. It also explores the 7 key functions of a sales manager, the different types of sales promotions, and the market conditions and promotional objectives that make an effective promotional tactic. Personal selling is person-to-person promotional presentation to a buyer. The sales process is essentially interpersonal and it is basic to any enterprise. Accounting, engineering, human resource management, production, and other organizational activities produce no benefits unless a seller matches the needs of a customer. Because of its direct contact with customers, personal selling is much costlier or expensive and more time-consuming than are other kinds of promotion. Personal selling is the single largest marketing expense of many firms. Since both advertising and personal selling represent large expense categories for firms, it is important to identify factors that may favor greater use of advertising or personal selling. Remember from the previous chapter? Advertising is a paid, non-personal communication through various mass media channels. The table shows a comparison between conditions that favor personal selling and advertising. When it comes to type of consumers, personal selling is favorable when they are geographically concentrated and relatively low in numbers. Whereas, if the target consumers are geographically dispersed and relatively high in numbers, advertising is more suitable. In terms of nature of product, when it is expensive, technically complex in nature, or products that are custom-made, or when special handling is required and transactions frequently involve trade-ins, then personal selling is more appropriate. Whereas, if the product is relatively inexpensive, simple to understand, or if the product is standardized with no special handling required and transactions seldom involve trade-ins, then advertising is more preferable. Personal selling is also suitable for products with high price, and advertising would suffice for products with relatively low price. Personal selling is more often used for relatively short distribution channels, versus advertising for those with long distribution channels such as retail products that go through wholesalers and retailers. As competition increases, personal selling becomes more prominent in the marketing mix. Salespeople must be able to focus on and create solutions for customers' needs, follow through before, during, and after a sale, know the industry and their firms' and competitors' capabilities, and work hard to exceed customers' expectations. Personal selling takes place through several types of communication channels, namely over-the-counter selling, including online selling, field selling, telemarketing, and inside selling. Each of these channels can be used for B2B and B2C selling. Many organizations use a number of different channels. First, over-the-counter selling. Over-the-counter selling typically describes selling in retail or wholesale locations in which customers come to the seller's place of business. It is the most frequently used personal selling channel. Customers typically visit the seller's location on their own initiative to purchase desired items. Some visit their favorite stores because they enjoy shopping. Others respond to appeals such as personal letters of invitation from store personnel and advertisements for sales, special events, and new product introductions. An important difference in over-the-counter selling is the sales representative's level of knowledge. B2B firms conduct training programs for their associates so that they can better address customer needs. Retail operations use over-the-counter selling but may not need to provide as much training to their associates. Second type is field selling. This involves making sales calls on prospective and existing customers at their businesses or homes. For example, field sales of large software installations or large industrial installations, for example, Airbus A380 double-deck airliner, they often require considerable effort and technical expertise. Largely because it involves travel, field selling is typically more expensive than other personal selling options. In more routine field selling situations that involve calling on established customers, the salesperson acts as an order taker, like for example for PepsiCo or Coca-Cola route delivery salespersons. Telemarketing is selling by phone. It functions to provide sales and service to customers and is used for both business-to-business and direct-to-customer markets. Both inbound and outbound telemarketing are forms of direct marketing. For outbound telemarketing or phone sales, sales personnel contact potential buyers by phone, reducing the substantial cost of personal visits to customers' homes or businesses, which most consumers do not like to be visited at all. Inbound telemarketing typically involves a toll-free number that customers can call to obtain information, make reservations, and purchase goods and services. Inbound representatives are mainly order takers who handle straightforward questions or purchases. Inside selling is a more advanced version of inbound telemarketing that requires more experienced sales representatives. While accepting an order for products, it is a somewhat simple transaction. Discussing technical specs for a custom piece of manufacturing equipment, for example, requires an inside sales representative with specialized expertise. Inside sales reps perform two primary jobs. They turn opportunities into actual sales, and they support technicians and purchasers with current solutions. A successful inside sales force relies on close working relationship with field representatives to solidify customer relationships. So again, the four sales channels for personal selling are over-the-counter selling, including online selling, field selling, telemarketing, and inside selling. The sales process and IDA concept. You learned in Chapter 17 about the IDA concept, which stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. This concept describes the steps consumers pass through when reaching a purchase decision. In personal selling, the sales process typically follows a sequence of activities, namely prospecting and qualifying, approach, presentation, demonstration, handling objections, closing, and follow-up. The steps in the selling process can and should be aligned with the IDA concept to be in sync with the consumer's decision process. Professional sales representatives utilize a sequential process designed to create attention, interest, desire, and action by the prospect. The sales representative sparks attention through the process of prospecting and qualifying, which is step 1 in the sales process, and proceeds to step 2, which is the approach. The consumer becomes interested by learning about the benefits of the product upon presentation by the sales representative. The consumer then develops a favorable desire for the product at subsequent demonstration and handling of objections by the salesperson. And finally, the consumer forms a purchase intention, shops around, engages in trial, and make a purchase, which is the closing process of the sale. Follow-up and after-sales service is important to create a long-term relationship with the customers. Let's talk about more details of each step in the sales process. Prospecting is the process of identifying potential customers. The leads for prospects come from many sources, which could be online, trade show exhibits, previous customers, friends, vendors and suppliers, and social and professional contacts. Prospects are considered the lifeblood of sales representatives since no sales can be made if the firm does not have potential customers. For each prospect, sales representatives must attempt to qualify whether or not the prospect is a suitable potential customer. Qualifying involves determining that the prospect meets certain criteria using the acronym NAME or NAME. Do prospects possess the appropriate need for the product, which is letter N? Do prospects have the authority to make the purchase decision? Do prospects have the monetary resources or the money to make the purchase? Are prospects eligible or are qualified to purchase? Even though an employee in a firm might like your products, he or she might not be authorized or eligible to make the purchase or have the financial means to purchase the product. This is why qualifying is such an important step in the sales process. The second step is approach. Once sales representatives have identified a qualified prospect, the next step involves gathering relevant information and planning an approach, which is the initial contact with the prospective customer. Before contacting customers, it is important to gather information to develop an understanding of their business, their current suppliers, and other pertinent details. Pre-call planning is the process of conducting research and gathering information before a sales call. So, for example, as part of her pre-call planning, Lisa may use the internet to find the company's website, check LinkedIn to determine who the key decision makers are. Next in the process is the presentation, where sales representatives convey the marketing message to the potential customer. During the presentation, sellers typically connect a buyer's needs to the benefits of the product. They describe the product's major features, point out its strengths, and for additional support, may mention how other customers have experienced success with the product. One popular form of presentation is a features-benefit framework where sellers talk about the goods or service in terms meaningful to the buyer. The next process is demonstration. One of the most important advantages of personal selling is the opportunity to demonstrate a product. During a demonstration, the buyer gets a chance to try or taste the product or see how it works. A demonstration might involve a test drive of the latest hybrid car or an in-store cooking class using pots and pans that are for sale and new pastry for the customers to taste some samples. Handling objections. Potential customers often have legitimate questions and concerns about a good or a service they are considering. Objections are expressions of resistance by the prospect, and it is reasonable to expect them. Objections might appear in the form of stalling or indecisiveness. They might say, "Let me call you back," or your prospect might say, "I just don't know what about this," or your buyer might focus on something negative such as the high price. Sales reps need to address objections without being aggressive or rude, treating them as a chance to reassure the buyer about the features of the product. The moment of truth in selling is the closing. This is the point at which the salesperson asks the prospect for an order. If a presentation has been effective and the sales representative has handled all objections, a closing would be the natural conclusion to the meeting. The salesperson may use these methods in closing a sale: addressing the prospect's major concern and offering a convincing argument, advising the buyer that a product will be discontinued or will increase in price soon if this is in fact true and not meant to deceive the buyer, or remaining silent so the buyer can make his or her own decision, or offering an inducement to motivate the buyer, such as a discount, freebies, or buy one take one offer. The next process is the follow-up. The word close can be misleading because the point at which the prospect accepts the seller's offer is where much of the real work of selling begins. It is not enough to close the sale and move on. Relationship selling involves reinforcing the purchase decision and ensuring the company delivers the highest quality goods and services. So that's the sales process applied in consonance with the IDA concept. Moving on to the next topic, let's talk about sales management functions. The overall direction and control of personal selling efforts are in the hands of a firm's sales managers. In a typical geographic sales structure, a district or divisional sales manager might report to a regional manager. This manager, in turn, reports to a national sales manager or vice president of sales. So, to illustrate, here's an example of a sales organizational chart headed by the VP of Sales. The Southern Regional Manager oversees 3 district managers, which also oversee sales representatives under each of them. The sales manager performs 7 basic managerial functions, namely recruitment and selection, training, organization, supervision, motivation, compensation, and evaluation and control. Recruitment and selection. Recruiting and selecting of successful salespeople are among the sales manager's greatest challenges. After all, these workers collectively will determine how successful the sales manager is and are directly responsible for achieving sales goals. New salespeople might be recruited from colleges, trade schools, the military, other companies, and even the firm's current non-sales staff. Careful selection of salespeople is important for 2 reasons. First, a company invests a substantial amount of time and money in the selection process. And second, hiring mistakes can damage relationships with customers and are costly to correct. Next function is training. To shape new sales recruits into an efficient sales organization, managers must conduct an effective training program. The principal methods used in sales training are on-the-job training, individual instruction, in-house classes, and external seminars. Popular training techniques include videos, lectures, role-playing exercises, or interactive computer programs. The third function is organization. Sales managers are responsible for the organization of the field sales force. General organizational alignments may be based on a number of factors, namely geography, products, and types of customers, or some combination of the previous 3 factors mentioned. A product sales organization is likely to have a specialized sales force for each major category of the firm's products. So here's an illustration of a basic approach to organizing the sales force. The sample company is called Winners Sporting Goods, headed by the National Sales Manager, and organized by product categories such as apparel or sports equipment, or maybe we can also add sport shoes or bags. Then also geographically organized such as Eastern region, Central region, Western region, and further classify the sales force by targeting specific customer groups like schools, teams, or individual sporting enthusiasts. The fourth function is supervision. Sales managers have conflicting opinions about the optimal level of supervision for the sales force. A concept known as span of control helps provide some general guidelines. Span of control refers to the number of sales representatives who report to first level sales managers. The most effective span of control is affected by factors such as complexity of work activities, ability of the individual sales managers, degree of interdependence among individual salespeople, and the extent of training each salesperson receives. Next function is motivation. The crucial question is, what motivates salespeople to perform their best? The sales manager is responsible for finding the answer to this question. The sales process involves problem solving, which sometimes includes frustration, particularly when a sale is delayed or falls through. Information sharing, recognition, bonuses, incentives, and benefits can all be used to help defray frustration and motivate a sales staff. Compensation. Money is an important part of any person's job, and the salesperson is no exception. Sales compensation can be based on a commission, a straight salary, or a combination of both. Bonuses, based on end-of-year results, are another popular form of compensation. A commission is a payment tied directly to the sales or profits a salesperson achieves. For example, a salesperson might receive 5% commission on all sales, just like for us, for example, real estate brokers, we earn 5% commission of every successful sale of a property. While commissions reinforce selling incentives, they may cause some sales force members to overlook non-selling activities such as completing sales reports, delivering promotion materials, and servicing existing accounts. A salary is a fixed payment made periodically to an employee. A straight salary plan gives management more control over how sales personnel allocate their efforts, but it may reduce the incentive to find new markets and land new accounts. Evaluation and control may be the most difficult task of sales managers. The means of evaluating sales effectiveness may involve determining the sales volume, profitability, the changes in market share, customer satisfaction, profit contribution, share of product category sales, or customer retention. Sales quotas are the specified sales or profit targets that the firm expects salespeople to achieve. Ethical and legal issues in sales. A difficult economy or highly competitive environment may tempt some salespeople, particularly those new to the business, to behave in ways they might later regret. Companies must be sure to create and enforce corporate cultures that reduce the opportunity to engage in unethical behavior and encourage appropriate professional behavior. At a minimum, today's companies should have a written code of conduct, foster open communication, and ensure all employees are upholding the company values and leading by example. Moving on to the next topic, sales promotion. This includes marketing activities other than personal selling, advertising, and publicity designed to enhance consumer purchasing and dealer effectiveness. Sales promotion techniques were originally intended as short-term incentives aimed at encouraging a purchase. Today, however, marketers recognize sales promotion as an integral part of the overall marketing plan, and the focus has shifted from short-term goals to long-term objectives of building brand equity, maintaining continuing purchases, and establishing loyalty. Example, a frequent flyer program enables an airline to build a base of loyal customers, and a frequent stay program allows a hotel chain to attract regular guests. Sales promotions often produce their best results when combined with other marketing activities. So example, ads create awareness while sales promotions lead to trial or purchase. Another example, after a presentation, a salesperson may offer a potential customer a discount coupon for the good or the services. Promotions encourage immediate action because they impose limited time frames. Discount coupons and rebates usually have expiration dates. In addition, sales promotion produce measurable results, making it relatively easy for marketers to evaluate their effectiveness. If more people buy shoes during a buy one take one free promotion at a shoe store, for example, its owners know the promotion was successful. Sales promotions can encourage interest in new and mature products, encourage trial and repeat purchases, increase usage rates, neutralize competition, reinforce advertising and personal selling efforts. However, sales promotions cannot overcome poor brand images, product deficiencies, poor training for salespeople. Sales promotion techniques are classified as consumer-oriented or trade-oriented promotions. First classification is consumer-oriented sales promotion. This encourages repurchase by rewarding current users, boosting sales of complementary products, and increasing impulse purchases. These promotions also attract consumer attention in the midst of advertising clutter. Examples are coupons, when the consumer is offered discounts on the purchase price of goods and services at retail outlets. Second, rebates, when the consumer is offered cashback for sending in proof of purchase. Next is sampling, when free distribution of a product is given in an attempt to obtain future sales. Contest, when entrants must complete a specific task to be eligible to win a prize. Sweepstakes, when any consumer can enter to be eligible for a prize. And specialty advertising, when an advertiser's message or logo is placed on useful articles that are distributed to target consumers. Here are some examples or some forms of consumer-oriented sales promotion. First, you have coupons. The consumer is offered discounts on the purchase price of goods and services and redeems the coupons at the retail outlet. So, for example, given here, Philadelphia Cream Cheese distributes coupons by mail, magazine, newspaper, package inserts, or via mobile phone. So then you will cut out the coupons and bring it to the store, buy the product with a discount when you present the coupon. Then nowadays, discount coupons are distributed through mobile phones with a QR code. So the cashier would just scan the QR code from your phone, then you can get a discount. Next, rebates. So consumers are offered cash back for sending in proof of purchase such as the receipt or the universal product code or the UPC from the product itself. So for example, LG offers a $100 rebate when a buyer provides proof of purchase for a new LG television. So first, you buy the product, then you show proof of purchase or a receipt, then LG will give a cashback of $100 or its equivalent in peso as a rebate or a refund after the purchase. Third is sampling, which is free distribution of a product in an attempt to obtain future sales. So for example, Costco offers free samples to customers of various food items in the store. So if you find a product that tastes good, then you get enticed to order their products. Then contest and sweepstakes. So contest may require the entrants to complete a task such as uploading a picture while anyone can enter a sweepstakes with an opportunity to win the advertised prize. So example, HGTV sponsoring a dream home giveaway where viewers can register for a chance to win a luxury home. Then you have specialty advertising. An advertiser's message or logo is placed on useful articles that are distributed to target customers. So for example, Pepsi giving away t-shirts with their logo at a sporting event. And another example is for a person marketing, free t-shirts with the face of the candidate printed on them. So in effect, you get a free t-shirt as an incentive of you becoming their walking billboard advertising their product or their candidate wherever you go. So those 5 are the examples of consumer-oriented sales promotions. Let's go now to trade-oriented promotions. These are sales promotions that appeal to distribution intermediaries like wholesalers, retailers, or distributors rather than final consumers. Marketers use trade promotions to encourage resellers to stock new products, to continue carrying their existing ones, and promote both effectively to customers. The typical firm spends about half of its promotional budgets on trade promotion, as much money as it spends on advertising and consumer-oriented sales promotions combined. So, successful trade promotions offer financial incentives for reseller performance. So, examples are trade allowances. These are financial incentives offered to wholesalers and retailers that purchase or promote specific products. Next are point of purchase, where they display or have their other promotion materials placed near the site of the actual buying decision. And then trade shows, where the product exhibitions are organized by industry trade associations to showcase goods and services. Different forms of trade-oriented promotions are the following. You have trade allowances, financial incentive offered to wholesalers and retailers that purchase or promote specific products. So for example, a beverage company offering a retail 1 free case of product for every 10 ordered. So for example, San Miguel Beer would give 1 free case of beer for every 10 cases ordered by a retail store or a suking tindahan. Next, you have point of purchase advertising, display or other promotion placed near the site of the actual buying decision. So example, a prominently placed cardboard or a billboard displayed for vitamin water at the end of the aisle in the grocery store. Another is a trade show, product exhibitions organized by industry trade associations to showcase goods and services. So example, Caterpillar Heavy Equipments participates in a mine expo trade fair in order to interact with firms in the mining industry. Next, you have dealer incentives, contests, and training programs. So, manufacturers may offer incentive programs and contests to reward retailers and their salespeople who increase sales and promote specific products. So, example, a clothing manufacturer running a sales contest among associates at retail stores who carry their goods. Effective promotional tactics. With the variety of tools and techniques available to promote their products, marketers are most likely to use a combination of elements. The choice of which elements to use depends upon the situation, the marketing objectives, and of course the budget of the business. To summarize, we have talked about the conditions that favor personal selling and also the conditions that favor advertising. We also talked about the 4 sales channels for personal selling, namely over-the-counter selling, including online selling, field selling, telemarketing, and inside selling. We have talked about the sales process and its relation to the steps in the IDA concept. We also mentioned the 7 key functions of a sales manager, namely recruitment and selection, training, organization, supervision, motivation, compensation, and evaluation and control. The five types of consumer-oriented sales promotions that we have discussed are the coupons, rebates, sampling, contests and sweepstakes, and specialty advertising. We also talked about the four types of trade-oriented sales promotions, namely trade allowances, point of purchase advertising, trade shows, dealer incentives, contests, and training programs. So that is chapter 18. Thank you and congratulations for finishing the topics of Marketing 01.